Okay, let's start. First of all, thank you all for coming. Could everyone please mute the microphone? Because otherwise we always get feedback. And there's a feature in Jitsi where you can do this raise your hand thing. Just use that, and I hope I'll see it. If I don't, just turn on the microphone and yell at me. Today, I want to go over. Okay, I guess everyone's trying out the feature because I see lots of raised hands. Today, I want to go over empty hand stuff. I'll share my ideas of the B3 empty hands, especially with stepping. So it's gonna help for whatever weapon you wanna do. And yeah, we'll see what you guys think. I absolutely love feedback, and I especially love constructive negative feedback. So if you don't like something, tell me later, because that's the only way I can grow. If everybody always says, yeah, it was good, I don't know what to improve. So please tell me what I could improve after the session. Okay, so let's get this started. What I want to talk about is a concept that took me a long time to figure out, and this is when Richard says, by the way, one more thing, it's Richard's birthday. Okay. One more thing. When Richard says your defensive action is your offensive loading, I struggled a long time understanding that, and to me it's basically this concept. If you are in chamber and you block something, right, and then you counter. Defensive action is offensive loading. To me is two things. The one is, while I block, let's call it block for now, I hit. So usually in training we go like here, we go very close because we are training in a very short distance and we need to be careful, of course, otherwise it's not funny to train like that. So we block like that, but I think it's meant to be this. If you watch Bobby, when he hits the dummy, he always does this and then just goes to chamber. And at the end of the day, if I'm in my chamber here and I go in this chamber here, there's really not much difference doing this. I over exaggerate so you guys can see better. So if I go this, it's the same to me as switching chambers. Now we all know that the power doesn't come from the arm, it comes from the rest of the body. So how do you get this fast? And what I'm doing for this is I'm stomping the ground like that. I'll turn the camera down to the floor so you can see my feet. I don't have the distance to do both, I'm sorry. So if I stand here in like basic, and I go in chamber, everything turns this way, right? If I go to the other chamber, everything turns that way. So it's 45 here, this is 0, it's 45 the other way. Now, if I want to do this quick, I'll use this foot and stomp the ground while trying to push off this toe actually, because like that, okay? If you try to turn your upper body, then do the feet, it's gonna be too slow. So this is like a double motion. When I just turn the upper body first and then the feet follow, it's like that, and then this happens. That's a waste of energy and a waste of time. Start with the feet, the body follows. Again, you can train this with a stick, without a stick, doesn't matter. Right? I really recommend doing this and really stomping down the heel. You go really down. And if you do this more than once, you go like that. That's a lot of speed you're getting there, and it's a full body movement. So it's not me doing this shit or me doing that shit. No, it's doing this. And the way you train this, you go to chamber, you go to the other chamber, you go back. Doesn't matter which one. This. Old school. It doesn't matter. Now, if you add a strike, you won't see the difference. I mean, maybe a little. Difference is, if I go touch just to chamber, here, this. The only difference is my arm, or my hand actually. Instead of going like that, I rotate 45. All of a sudden I can hit people. This is the block, this is the hit. And this is where semi-hitting comes into play. You hit him, you block, you go full power. So that's at least my way to switch quickly. There's another very interesting thing in this. This is when you go this way. Right? We all know backhand strikes are never as powerful as forehand strikes. It's just biomechanical and not possible to generate that much power compared to this. An interesting thing though is whacking it down, like chopping it. Like one of the 365 versions that Richard does in number 12 is that. Let's just go this, or hits the head, or hits the head with the stick. He whacks it down like he's trying to smash through a log, like a tree, right? So you go here, boom. You can do this, and you can't do it there. That's more powerful, but obviously it's more complicated. But here you don't really get a good angle. I hate strikes from this side actually, except for this one. It's more or less the same concept in the arc shot, but there we're whacking this part. I want to whack that guy, like there. I'm here, boom, whack it down there, but hit him like this. And this is all open and close rotation, right? Whacking down is compression, and you obviously have the rotation. Now weight shifting, you can't do it this way. You can do it there, but stepping this way, if this foot is forward, you get it. So you're here, boom, and back. Now this is a hit. Coming back is also a hit. So I'm teaching it usually this way, that I say, to me, Balintawak is Balintawak, not B3, but Balintawak is two positions. This and this. That's the whole system. Because what we do is we go from this to this. When we do 1 to 12 in control, we always go to chamber first, then we step, then we do this stuff. We always go to chamber. Boom, we always go to chamber. You know? It's going here, going to chamber, then stepping, doing stuff, going to chamber, doing stuff. If we just go to chamber because we should, or because somebody told us, we are not understanding what we're doing. When I go to chamber here, it's always a hit. Not in training, but in my head. I can do straight strikes, I can do upward strikes, I can do downward strikes, it doesn't matter. And all it is my body moving, and my feet just propelling me around. And this is just for side to side. I want to focus a lot on the legs today, on my ideas how I do the legs, and then also add some stuff how I use it in other martial arts, not just B3 or Balintawak. So train this, really. Make sure you go there. Imagine a hazelnut. I think it's called hazelnut. Cracking it. Then go up to a coconut, right? Just try to smash it like really hard. At some point, you should upgrade this mental thing below your heel to a stone and just pulverize it. This is harder than you think it is. And if you do this on hard ground, I'm standing on my mats now, but if you do this on hard ground, it should hurt. Right? In both heels. Because then you know you're doing it correctly and you can hear it. If I do this, I'll try to make it hearable. Not sure if you hear it on the video, but my glass on the window is vibrating. So that's heels. The rotation comes from the heels in my part and somewhat from the upper body, but not a lot. Because if you go a lot, you know, I can do 45 with the hips and still do upper body rotation. But we don't want that except for when I hit him with an elbow or something. Otherwise, if you can read the back of anyone's shirt in training, you basically just killed him because you're standing behind him. There's no coming back from this if I'm standing behind you or anyone is standing behind you. You're fucked, so don't do that. Now, that's for the heels. Any questions? Nope. Okay, good. By the way, same, of course, goes for the knife, right? We modify the chambers, yes. I'm only doing modest chambers nowadays. I don't care about all this other stuff. But it's the same. When I stab, all right. But if I go here, I will try to stab here and then rip the part of the body out. This is not my usual knife. I use a big one so you can see, because if you use the small one, you won't see shit. But usually you stab, and the backside of the blade, part of it isn't sharp. On any really good knife that's made for warfare, not for cutting stuff, but for cutting people, you will have a double-edged blade, and you will have a non-sharp part on the back. And that's good, because you stab in. If the blade is cutting through the flesh and it's a sharp blade, we all know what happens. It's just a cut, right? If I stab it in and I have a non-sharp part here, it's ripping. You will get it out. I have this is not my concept, not my idea. It's from Radek. I just wanted to mention it. So you stab it in and you rip. And ripping takes force. Stabbing and cutting with a sharp blade doesn't require any energy. Stabbing and ripping out parts does. So always remember that you can use the back. And obviously don't do this. Don't even do this. I just have to show what I mean. You rip with this part. You can rip down, you can rip to the side. You can rip down like that by dropping, which is very powerful. So this is like the backhand of this, right? Now, That's the part about rotation and heels. Next thing I want to talk about is stepping. Stepping is obviously very important because if you stand just here, don't step in a fight, well, you're an easy target. So let's change this again. So obviously in Balintawak we have this footwork, right? In most traditional martial arts, especially the Asian ones, you stand like this. So you're making a T in any form. Some stand like that, some stand like that, but they usually tend to stand smaller, like this way smaller, not wide, but narrow, which is good because I can angle my body and make, obviously, a slimmer target, which is required if somebody tries to hit you with a sword. You don't want to be standing like that against the sword. You want to be standing like that against the sword. But we're not sword fighting. And the reason why I like both footworks is pretty simple. This one I'm used to for 10 years. And it doesn't matter if you do this or if you do this, it's a Neko touch and all this stuff, it doesn't matter, right? What does matter is if I can also do this. That's very hard, especially if you come from a classical background, which most people do, where you have footwork like this. You go wide, you go closer, right? You have this stuff, and you have all your taizabaki, and you stand like that, which is good, but it has its limitations, just like this one. People always tell, I'm sure you heard it, it's one of the things you hear most on the internet is, if I go this, I'll just kick you in the balls. Has anyone ever tried kicking another male in the balls? Do you realize how hard that is? This is a very old reflex. It's just, blocking shit out of your balls. It's not easy to kick someone in the balls from the front. So I don't give a shit. The next thing is who said I can't do this? I can. Everybody can. You can do this stuff. You can move. Don't get limited by people telling you this footwork sucks. The footwork is how you move. That's all it is. If you like the classic way of going, like this, do it. Makes sense? If you're on slippery ice, I've done this in real life because it helps. And then I put the weight on. You can do the Tai Chi stuff. I don't care. But know the limitations of the footwork and know the advantages. And know how to switch from one to the other. Footwork is the most important thing. Sitting like this is not a huge advantage if the other guy is standing. But if I understand how I can do this, if you look at the Aikido guys, I'm not good at this. They're very fast and they're extremely mobile. They're on their knees. I wouldn't recommend going to the knees, but it just shows that footwork is way more than this, more than this, more than this, more than this. Find your own stuff and try stuff with different footwork. It's gonna melt your brain, but it is a very good idea to do it. Now, how does B3 fit in all of this? Well, B3 has 4 concepts and 1 line with 3 dots on it. That's it. How do we use this? Well, this footwork, I think, is clear to everyone who trained with Richard why this is good. this stuff, like going traditional footwork, is different. But it's still possible to use rotation. This is obviously weight shifting. I can go down, I can go up because I need to be able to kick. And open close doesn't really apply to the feet, but you can open your hips and you can close your hips like that, which also generates power. But usually you need this on the ground. So this is for the grappling, in my opinion, for the feet. What you can also do is like single knee hits like that. This is open, close. Everybody who's trained on a seminar with Richard has probably done this. I obviously can't show you the partner drill, but we all know it, I think, when you interlock the legs, two guys interlocking the legs, one hitting the other with the knee. First of all, it takes out your base completely, and second of all, be very careful because you can destroy knees with this easily. Okay, so just think about rotation, weight transfer, offsetting. I'll show the head again. A little bit more. So remember, even if you do traditional footwork, that's where the limitation is. Offsetting the head is extremely hard if my feet are on line, on a single line. This is not made to go left and right. This is made to evade swords or block swords or, you know, go out of the way of swords. Why does this work? Because a samurai usually can't lift his arms higher than this, because if he does that, his armor plates will choke him. So he can't go up. That's the one thing. The other one is swinging a sword like that, the Japanese long sword, takes time. So I can do a complete footwork, but I can step back. Hello. But going sideways is not that easy with this footwork. We can step out and get away, but then again, the moment we step out, I'll show it again with the feet. Now look at this traditional stuff. Sword comes down the middle, right? I want to get away. Now what I'm doing, I'm standing in this footwork. When we start, get out of the way. You get the leg out because otherwise it gets cut. But at the end of the day, we switched from this footwork to this footwork to this. It doesn't, you know, that's not really a difference. It's you go out, you launch here, you turn, you have your taizabaki, you kick or whatever you're doing. So don't get limited with that. And I've trained a few different martial arts, especially in seminars and stuff, and you learn new footwork everywhere, and everybody will tell you this is the correct footwork, everything else doesn't work. Okay, I don't think so. Yeah, this is just my idea about it. Mix it, match, adapt, but keep B3 in mind. That's important because it will generate the power. And without the power, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. If you want to do combat, if you want to do forms, please do. I like that as well. But it's not combative. Now, that's this part. So this is the bridge between all the different footworks for me. Now I want to talk about a very specific move that we have in Balintawak in many parts. It's all over the grouping system. It's in that 1 to 12 in control and in full power. But before that, are there any questions or comments? No. Okay. Now, we all know we have this in the 1 to 12, right? So we stand like that. It doesn't matter. You don't need to see my heels now. We stand like that. We go to chamber. We hit the guy in the face. We go to chamber. We do this step. We hit him again. Bang. This is where the interesting part starts. This. Stepping back is extremely powerful because we're moving our weight back. I have around 84 kilograms. If 84 kilograms hit you, you're not going to stop it. It's not happening. It's almost, if I throw you up 80 kilograms, so if I jump at you, good luck. Now, the stepping back is, first of all, of course, we have the hip. But what's more interesting is my weight is going back, but I can go forward with my fist. Marty calls part similar stuff like this the stop punch. Like he does this with his knife. So he has his knife in his right hand and he does this to stop the guy, to kill him. This thing is extremely cool because it's more or less free to have. Every time you step back, the front hand can go forward. Front hand being the hand where the shoulder comes forward. If you're standing in this chamber, this is obviously my front hand. Now if I step back, front hand, now, is still this shoulder. Although my leg is back. So I can go there. Now this doesn't have necessarily, this doesn't have to be a punch. I'm more of a grappler, so I'll grab you and do stuff. But if I'm standing forward and I go back, this fist actually goes forward. So if I straighten this out, right? Just try to remember where my arm is now. If I step back, it's not a lot of difference because I know how to open and close here. And there's a misconception in Filipino martial arts, I think. They all say we stand with the right foot forward if we are right-handed because this is the weapon and we have more reach. That's not correct. This arm has more reach than this one, the one that is back. Why? Pretty easy. If we go to full forward, so my knee is right above my toes, and I go this arm, this is the maximum I can do. If I rotate here and open, I can go at least 10 centimeters wider or further than this side. Because I can use the shoulders, because the shoulder can go way more forward and I get torqued here than the other side. You should be able to see it on the camera, I hope. Just try it. The way I try that is I go against the wall, you do your normal fighting stance, whatever, go to maximum extension, but do not go with the knee over the toes because then you lose balance and you fuck up your knee. So don't do that. Go there and position yourself so that you can reach the wall with the fist, the first arm. Now, if you go this way, you will realize that you have more reach without stepping. Now, if I go forward, if I go backwards with my leg, do I go back or does my fist just hit your face? Now, this is not gonna be as powerful as just punching straight forward, right? But it's gonna stop you and it's gonna set you up really good for this. And it's all about the footwork, because here I've loaded. This is the same concept that I was talking about earlier when we go from chamber to chamber. Every time something happens, I go there. I'm in chamber. Just because I don't have a stick, I don't change my body mechanics. I have a stick, right? I have this guard, whichever you want to use. I don't have a stick. I'll still do it because it's a boxing stance. Same around here. The only thing that's different in this chamber, if we have a stick, is we hold it like that. But we don't have to. I mean, I can go there, but this is already where it should be. If you look at the chambers, it's the same thing. And once you get this in your head and you get this in muscle memory, it's extremely powerful because it is instant. If I have to move my leg, boom, leg goes back. You won't kick it, I hope. So I move the leg out of the way for some reason. I still hit. Boom, I still hit. Also, this sets me up torque loaded, which is really nice because if I miss, or if I grab, now this is a weight shift because my foot is going down. You will not be standing there. You will be coming towards me. I'm also doing a rotation. Whoop. Yeah. I'm also doing a rotation, which is a hook or an elbow. Doesn't matter. Whichever you want to do. Yeah? Or it's my stab, my knife draw, whatever. And the stepping back gives you tremendous power here, which you can release. And it's also a defensive move. Usually, if any one of you ever heard about the OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, act, if you're not striking first, you're in a bad position. Now, most martial arts and most people who advocate for self-defense or train self-defense like me tend to have a focus on countering and reacting. Now, the problem is, if you're reacting, you're already one step behind. If you train this a lot, you will get an offensive action out of your one step behind action. So the moment you do a flinch in any way, if you did this long enough, you're gonna go in a chamber, you're gonna be in a powerful position compared to first. If I stand like this, somebody pushes me, I probably catch my weight like this. Or if I go the other side, I land in a chamber. Now this doesn't just apply to Berlin walk. I don't know what you all are training. I know some of you are training jiu-jitsu, the traditional ones. Some at least do grappling, and the others I don't know. But if everyone knows a kotegaeshi, I think it's like the easiest, the most known wrist lock ever. If you do a kotegaeshi, you can't do it with the traditional way, yeah. But we already do this. If you do the Aikido way, you go very far, you go down, you go up, you go down again. You have this pattern, right? Now, I don't have to change this. But what I can do is I can use B3 here. But that's gonna off balance you so you start flying in this direction, and that's just gonna break the wrist while you're flying there. And it's the easiest way to do kotegaeshi. You grab the guy's hand, you rotate here, you just keep it like this, and you rotate back. It's going to result in this motion of his arm, which is a kotegaeshi. You can do that for almost any wrist lock or any standing wrist and arm locks. Like even a shionage, right? For whatever, sword throw thing. It's a rotation and a compression. So, or if you go like the other way, the outside version, inside version, blah, blah. Don't want to get into this. Try to do it with B3. don't do it with the arms. You can still do small movement with your hands, it doesn't matter, but use the body. If any one of you has ever worked with a blacksmith in training, you are not going to bend his wrist. These guys have wrists like my legs. They can lift 40 kilos with one hand. You're not going to bend his wrist. But you're gonna do this. It's maybe still not bending the wrist, but it's gonna off balance him in a very bad way. So if you go with the body, you go back with the body, stuff will happen. And all this is based on the footwork. All this is based on the fact that I stomp my heel. This way. I stomp it back. If I want to go over there, if my left leg is forward, that's impossible to do very good. So I go here, I'm going to step back. So stomp the heels. Also for the footwork, you have a few other things with the legs. One of them is some leg is forward. I don't care. You have to remove it, right? Now there's a couple of versions, because let's imagine there's something coming here. It could be a low kick. It could be a Japanese sword in the Middle Ages. It could be a stick. It could be a car. Don't know. You need to move this leg out of the way. So there's a couple of ways to do this. You can go sideways, which nobody ever does, but you could. You can do this. There's some needle this direction, but which moves the knee very, very quickly, very far away. It leaves the leg where it is, which is a problem. You can lift the leg like that, but that off balances you very bad to the front, and you can just pull it in. You go in like cat stance, Neko Dutch in Japanese, like that, which is also good. At least you're standing balanced and you can use this leg for something. What you also can do is just go to chamber, which is not a lot slower than doing this or this. Right? I go here, I go to chamber, which means my leg goes straight down the line, and I rotate and I hit. Same goes for forward. Like I'm still chambered. So if you move this leg away, try to move the whole body and not just the leg, because that's what people do is they do this and this. Now this is a going forward motion. It's not going back. Going back is my body is going back. If I just pull the leg out, my head goes forward. This is an offensive step. It's not defensive. If you stand, I recommend doing this in training because it's very funny. Have a partner here. Step out to the side of him. Do this and this step and hit him with the shoulder. Tell him first. Because what's going to happen is your whole body mass will fall into him. It's one of the hardest body checks you can possibly do, is just falling into a guy. But this is an offensive step. If I do this, it's offensive. If I do this, it's defensive. Because I'm still in balance, I moved back a little bit, I can still do stuff. So keep that in mind, that if you lift the foot, you usually start falling forward. Any questions? Hello, Karsten. Oh, there's a chat. Let me just check. jab versus straight boxing concept, right? I don't know a lot about boxing. But yes, I like jabs because they set up the rest. That's everything I ever learned about boxing is that the jabber is, first of all, it's pretty dangerous. Second of all, it's like the feeler-killer principle. In Balintawak, we have the feeler, which feels for open space, and the killer, which enters the open space. So, when Richard is playing with you, and you know all those videos where he fucks someone up extremely, there's also one of me where I asked him to demonstrate it. It's this hand that's destroying you. This is fucking easy, it's just hitting you. We all know block, counter, bar, grouping. I mean, maybe not everyone, but we all get this idea, right? It's not hard to block and counter. It's the easiest part. Problem is if the feeder is using his feeler to destroy your movement, and that's what he's doing. He's pushing you here, he's pushing you here, he's pushing you here sometimes, and he's manipulating your arm in directions where you don't want to have it, and he's going to hit exactly the other side. And there's nothing you can do about it. So it's this arm, right? And this is feeler killer. This is lots of jabbing, but it's also manipulating. Like Christian asked this question, and I know he's doing jiu-jitsu. So this is your grabbing. This is your start, or it's your parry, it's your blocks, whatever. But it's only the setup. Now, if you get something to grab, it's way better than just hitting him. I'd rather grab than hit, because I hit once I grab him and won't stop hitting. And it's about the going back and creating space, because if I go back, I create lots of space to stop him. This can be an eye gouge, this can be a hit, this can be a stop, this can be a counter push, or me pushing off the other guy to get space to do stuff. But I like this motion to just jab, and for me, jabbing is not left hand, blah, foot forward. For me, jab is just a quick hit. Now, this might not be a jab in boxing terminology, but I don't really care about that. For me, jab is something that hits really quick and comes back. In most Filipino martial arts, it's called vitik. Like, so full control is vitik strikes. Full power is laptic strikes, if you use the Philippine terms. But this is a laptic, this is a vitik. I like those quick movements that do strategic stuff, like setting me up in a chamber to actually do something really hard, or go forward, or grabs. So, the quick arm, try it in training. If you go Japanese style, where you move out, you move off the center line completely, mostly with a Taisabak. It's most of the time it's Taisabak movements, turning steps. I don't know the English term for this. I can hit, I can stop, I can catch an arm with all of this stuff. I can do the Aikido stuff. Yeah. I don't think Aikido is a real martial art, but it has some very, very good concepts, and you can use it. Just don't stick to Aikido. Do something else too. I love Aikido. I've done it for a couple of years, but it's not competitive. But turning around is stupidly hard to stop for anyone else. So, jabbing versus boxing, or straight boxing. Other questions? Nope. Good. Okay. Now, so far, I mean, mostly people tend to look at the hands, but everybody who's a little bit experienced in martial arts will tell you that you should look at the feet and forget about the hands, right? I think everyone has heard that. If you haven't tried doing it, I seriously recommend doing it now. Because it doesn't matter, right? So this could be me giving up because I shot the wrong people, or it could be me hitting people with elbows. It doesn't really matter because I'm doing it from the legs. So the important part is always the footwork. Even when people do jumping kicks, it's about the footwork. Now, let's reiterate this. I stomp the heel to change very quick. I can push off this foot as well to get even quicker. I can also use this pushing off to get to the side and land in a chamber. So I don't want to be standing like this somewhere. I want to always be, when I move somewhere, I'm in a chamber. Like I'm in a chamber. I'm in a chamber. Every time I change positions, I'll be in a chamber. I don't want to be doing this. You know? So if I go back, I go to chamber. Even if I have to do this, I can still go in a chamber right after it. But you should try to always land in a chamber. Yeah, so another interesting part about footwork is moving your head out of the way. Now there's a couple of things here how you can do this. Let me just figure out how I set up the camera. It's gonna be difficult. Alright, so let's do it this way first. Now, my head needs to get out of the way because people tend to try to hit the head. Doing this is way harder than people think. Doing this is way slower than doing this, but it's both is still too slow. Now, if I tell this stuff to a boxer, he's probably gonna laugh at me because that's all they do is head movement and hitting people and lots of footwork forward back. As far as I know, I don't know about boxing. If I say bullshit, then just call me out on it. But there's a tip for everybody who's struggling to move the head out of the way of a punch that's coming really fast in training. And the tip is using your legs and your shoulder. I'll show you what I mean with this. First, the legs. The legs are gonna just do this. Right? So the back foot is gonna turn a little bit, and the front foot won't even do anything. You can maybe go a little bit forward, but it tends to be too slow. So you want to do this. This is like the opposite of the heel stomping. It's like heel lifting. You're just turning on the balls of your foot. Now, upper body. So this is not strictly footwork anymore, but it's a good trick, I think. Punch coming this way. I want to move the head out of the way. If I try to move the head, at least for me, it's always too slow. I've never managed to do this in speed. Never. And I still don't know how to do it. Doing this in speed, I can't do it. What I can do is try to hit the fist with the shoulder. It's maybe better to do it like this so you can see it. So I'm gonna try to hit the incoming fist with the shoulder, which has the tendency to move my head just enough to hit the punch. And it also has a tendency to not hit anything, because if something hits me here and I move my shoulder here, it's gonna be below. Doesn't matter. You can do two things. You can just use it as a gift and just grab the arm or whatever, or hit lower body. Or if you catch the arm, move it there. It's gonna break a hand. So you're here in any guard you like, and you do this with his arm there. It can hurt your shoulder, yes, but it hurts less than just getting the fist in the face. Like that. And it's gonna break his fist, or at least injure him. So, and this is all possible because I'm trying to hit with the shoulder, while this is more or less a close motion, like so the open close here, but I use the foot to get the speed, not using the upper body. If you, now I'm gonna go flat-footed so you can see the difference, and I do it as fast as I can. So fist is incoming, I do this. If I'm not flat-footed, it's faster, because I can just use the feet. So I think this is where all the speed comes from. It's never the arm, at least not in our system. It's not the arm. And the arm is crazy fast, but the body can also be very fast, and it has a lot more power. So this is one of the points that I wanted to get across today. I hope I did. A few drills that I'd recommend for this is, first of all, the range check. Like, imagine you have a wall here, you know, go with the front arm, then just go with the backside arm, go to full extension first, and barely touch the wall with your knuckles, and then just go around, but don't punch it because you're gonna hit the wall very hard. So, the back arm has more reach, which is very important in stepping back while hitting forward. So I go back, boom, but I hit him. Then we can follow up, so boom, boom, whatever you like. So that's one drill. The other one is, all the jiu-jitsu and Japanese guys will kind of hate me for this, but do Taiza-bucks, lots of them. And also figure out if you're standing in traditional stance like this. If you have this stance, you move out, try to end in this Balintawak-like stance. So you're there, and when you go there or there, even here I'm standing in chamber. Yeah, I'm turning my back, I know. It's not about this. Well, this is like as traditional as you can stand. If you move away, you're gonna end in a chamber over here with the exact same footwork, but people still call it Japanese footwork. Okay, so practice changing footworks. Like go from here to here, and do this. And you can do a Tai Chi stuff that I don't know a lot about. But practice it and know the weaknesses. And also know the strengths of it. Now, this people think is a bad thing. If you have ever seen a Tai Chi person, try to push them over. It's gonna be very hard. So this has advantages. Also has its disadvantages, like everything else. Same with this. I think this is the old school Muay Thais, they stand like this. Wing Chun stands like this. You have it in pretty much any martial arts. You have it. You even have it with Balintawak. When you do the number 3 block, you can do this. So, try to learn as much different footwork stuff as you can, but don't get hung up on one only. It's not a good idea. So, basically, practice the stepping. Practice from going here to here. Practice this stuff. You can do the traditional triangular footwork from Filipino stuff if you want. But know where you are. Don't stay here. Go back there, or go there, or go. You get it. Yeah, and then the other thing that I mentioned earlier, try this. Just stand like you are and hit the flat part of your foot, the palm of your foot, I think it's called, and hit your leg with it. And you're gonna go very far in the direction where you lifted the foot. Yeah. Because I've just seen Eugen do it in the video. Now, don't do this. The difference being, I move my weight over there, now I'm standing on one foot and I do this. that's not what I meant. It's keep your weight here. Look at my legs. Look at where my hip is. It doesn't move this way. Just do this. I do this to start falling. The end result should be just that. It's like stepping forward, but falling into the step, a drop step, or version of it. This is just an easy way to figure the drop step out, because the drop step is extremely hard from coordination. So it all happens if you lift the foot, you're going to fall in this direction. If you're not falling, you're just standing on this foot and just lifting it. Now my weight is back in the middle. If I lift now, I'm going to fall there. So that's the drill. You want to start falling over like this. I think that's about all I have to share today. As I said in the beginning, I like feedback, especially constructive negative feedback. So please tell me, is there any questions? No? Okay. I hope the recording worked. If it did, I'm gonna upload it somewhere and post it on all the different channels. You know the drill. If you have any more questions that maybe came up, contact me anywhere. I'm literally everywhere except for TikTok. I hate that stuff. So I'm on WhatsApp, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, but don't use that. Telegram. Telegram is my favorite. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for showing up. Maybe the guard positions in the next one. I can do it now. It's pretty easy. It's very quick. Because the trick is just figure it out. So we don't have a set thing how the arms are in the chamber. I mean, most of the guys in our group do a variation of this or this. And on the other side, there's like going very close. I like to go very far. So you see how much space this is? This is my chamber. Or I go here and it's very close. But usually I'd like to do this because this is my space. If you enter this, I'm going to grapple the shit out of you. So I want to protect it and bring you in later. I don't want you entering. I want to bring you in. It's different. Because bringing you in is forcing it upon you. Now from the guards, they're difficult. And you got to figure out your own. I usually teach this. But I personally do this. There's a huge difference, which is very subtle, but it's huge. Going like that is extremely strong. I've catched full-blown elbows with this. Doesn't really matter. And I even did it. I have it on a slow motion video. I get hit and then the arm hits me. Now that sucks, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. For me, my cover, the best version is using this palm, this part of the palm, not the full, just this. Like when we are blocking number 3, right? At least I'm blocking. You see this way, with this part of the hand, just here, right? When I block number 3, I do this block. I don't do this. But I don't block like Facebook. I block with an impact here. And if you know Japanese sword work, they usually use this part to get pressure on the handle of the sword and pressure downwards. So this is very powerful. And I put this against my forehead and press here. Why do I not do this? So I could be doing this, which is very good. Any version of this, but this gives me a little bit more reach while not sacrificing anything, but it also automatically lifts my shoulder, which protects my neck. So I'll go to this chamber. And there is another very funny thing about it is I used to do this a lot, which is good, I think. In Croatia, it was very, very bright. So I switched to doing this. It's fucking awesome. Because it's like wearing a cap without having one. You can still do your cover, you can still do whatever you want with your elbows, you can still do the punching, but you shield your eyes from the sun. And that is a tactical advantage that you should know. Yeah, and whichever guards you want to use. You can do the Panantukan stuff, you can do the Japanese. Where's the difference? You know? If I go here, what's this block called? I can't remember. Soto Auchi, yeah, some fucking block, anyway. So if I go here, if I go to Japanese outside block, it's literally just turning the arm and putting it here. What this arm does, I don't care. If you go like very traditional, it's not far from Filipino stuff. If you go here, it's not far from a chamber. The arms don't really matter as long as you know at least parts of what you're doing. The body is way more important. But I don't care if you do boxing, if you do karate strikes, if you do ballistic strikes, which I like, but that's a whole topic on its own. You can go here. And then you have this. In some katas you have this, or this, whatever this hand is doing. And then you go that. That's just rotation. And this is open. So it's exactly the same as what we are doing. It's just the hand is open. And the idea is to strike the neck, we just hit him in the face right away. But that's the difference. But I recommend this or this. Any version of where the elbows are up. I usually try to sacrifice the lower part of the upper body instead of the computer. I mean, you can hit me here. It's going to break ribs. Yes. It's going to hurt like hell. Yes. You can stab me here. Yes. I'm not a Jedi yet, so I don't have a force field. Once I figure that out, I'm not going to teach it. But I usually try to cover the head and just sacrifice the lower body. But I can still move the lower body back. So if you look at it from the side, my usual cover is this. Or this, or maybe this. But most of the time it's just gonna be one elbow just pointing straight at you. If you hit this, it's not gonna move, you're gonna break stuff on this. That's here, and I push it here. So that's my guards. But use whatever you like, but pressure test it a little bit. This is one of the things that are very, very cool when you do seminars with Richard, is you go in your chamber or in your guard or whatever, and you will have a training partner push on you. It's not giving you like a super huge impact, that's not the point, but applying pressure slowly and very hard. Most people then fall off their feet or the balls, so balls of the feet. Because the balance isn't there. It's not completely correct yet. So if somebody pushes me here, it's gonna slowly destroy the base, and there's no way of stopping it, but you can prolong the process, which trains your balance. Also, when you do this, any kind of, you do this, have someone push the arm inside, have someone pull the arm outside, not yanking it, pulling. If you can, use a TheraBand. Like imagine this arm belonging to my training partner, and I go on this, and then he's just gonna extend here. You're gonna see if your body mechanics are there, or if you're doing it with your arm. It's also the same with this one. Now, this is a very strong TheraBand actually. It's just the wrong color because it's not the original, but if you do this This is the best training for a punch ever. Don't let go of this or you hit your face. But you can see this maybe, it's very tight and it's extremely hard to pull it. If I just do it with the hand, I probably get around here. So you can see the extension. That's all I can do. Now if I do open, it's pretty easy to go here. And also to hold it. Same on the other side. Now if you fix this to any part of your body, if the arm or something, you have a training partner pull it. You get very good dynamics because human beings can't be stable. If he pulls, he's always going to go around a little bit like that. Or he can just exaggerate it. This is a very good training tool. If you want to train with stick, with this, put it here. Or go once around so you don't hit your face. And never let go of the stick. Because it's going to hit your head extremely hard. Or hardcore mode is going to the top of the stick. But don't apply a lot of pressure because this lever is way too big. Yeah. And you can do it like in 1 to 12. We did that with Richard quite a few times, where one of the guys has the stick with the TheraBand, usually like that. So you can't let go here. And you do the 1 to 12, and the other guy just puts pressure here, and you stand in your, I don't know, this, like, let's say number 1. The other guy just pulls it very hard, and then just walks around in a circle around you. And all you have to do is hold the number 1 strike. It's very, very difficult if the guy just does a 360 around you. Yeah. Any more questions? All good? Then thank you very much for joining again. Remember, it's Richard's birthday. Hope you enjoyed it. I think technically everything worked, right? So everybody had video and audio and everything. Okay. I guess see you around. And let's hope we can soon train together for real instead of staring at monitors. Thank you all.
Yeah.